Dr. Lewis, you are
Nathalie.
you are a president, a dean in the higher education, higher institution of learning. And there are so many different types of funding that is needed just to make your mission work, make your mission possible. Can you talk about how grant funding has been impactful in that kind of diversification of funds to do your work?
Absolutely. I think it's important for organizations to understand that in this day and time, if you were already kind of dependent on like one source of income, many of us are watching institutional incomes just dry up. I mean, there was a time when there was lots of resources that your organization, or if you're part of a denomination, already just set aside for you. But a lot of those funds are they're shrinking, shrinking, shrinking. So there's a real need to create other sources of income. And it's just been a real blessing for us to connect with you. And you automatically came to the table that says, like, I mean, you literally just infused me with this idea that says, oh my gosh, there's so many other resources out there that you could be connecting with. Like, don't be concerned about that. Because again, it really is a concern in many organizations, especially in higher education, to just watch certain reliable sources of income shrink. And now you're trying to figure out how are we going to replace this money?
Yeah. And I look like you, first of all, thank you for trusting me with your work and being a part of the amazing things that are happening. And I think I remember I sent you something, and then like 2 weeks later, it was like, we got the grant.
Exactly. Literally, like 2 weeks later, we got the grant. And the grant literally covers this new opportunity that we have. And it also helps some of the administrative cost of it. And you literally just came with of course there's money out there. I was like, well, do you already have these? Like, where's this money going to come from? You're like, no, there's just lots of resources that are out there. We just have to apply. We just have to research. We just have to apply. And again, literally within 2 weeks, we got our first grant.
Yeah. Can you talk about for that nonprofit leader, or even that small business owner, or that church, or that ministry that's in that place of not knowing what to do, what kind of advice would you give them to, step forward a little bit and explore the possibility of grant writing?
I would say first, be clear on your mission. You have to be clear on your mission, and you have to be clear on who your organization kind of serves, reaches, and connects with. Because obviously with every grant, which is what you said to me as well, we have to write reports and we have to be very accountable. So you just have to be clear on your mission, clear on what you're trying to resource, trust that the resources are out there, and then use the resources for what you said you were going to use the resources for. So that way more resources can come simply because you were very accountable and you really searched for resources with integrity. I would just say integrity, accountability are two very important. Clear on your mission, integrity, and accountability are three things that you want to be clear on.
Yeah, and those are all things that you can learn in the art of securing grants.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm
sure. Because like you said, not only are you getting access to these resources, but you're also building partnerships, which is really important. So can you talk a little bit, and this is the last question because I could talk to you all day, but talk a little bit about what types of partnerships you've cultivated through grants?
Well, partners that we have looked for have been people, again, that are already interested in our mission. And I think it's really exciting to know that there's so many more people that care about our mission than, let's say, even when I was a church pastor, than the people on the pews. It's people outside of the church that cares about your mission. Now that I'm in the theological education space, I'm realizing that there are people outside of graduates or alumni that care about our mission. And so literally, we were just in a conversation just yesterday with this large private foundation that they don't even advertise. You have to know about them to gain their resources. And we just spent a whole half a day just cultivating partnerships with them, cultivating conversations with them, realizing that there's so much we have in common in our shared mission. They have a mission to resource. We have a mission to train students. And there was just this real connection that's happening. We had already applied for the grant, but literally based on that cultivating and investing in that, building that real partnership with them, we are very confident that they're going to increase what they were even considering to give us, just because we practice, the kind of principles that you talk about.
And that is the key principle I tell people when they're like, Nathalie, I want to write a grant, or I'm interested in the course. It's like, grant writing is more about relationships
It really is.
than it is about money.
Mhm.
And when you have that kind of mindset and understanding of what you're really doing, right? What the real currency is, our relationships and social capital is our greatest currency, then you see that you cultivate more opportunities that way.
You have to get over that fear, though, right?
Yeah.
A lot of leaders are afraid. They've not ventured out in that space before. That's why you have to have a trusted person. So I'm really glad that I trust you, and that you have integrity, and you've had just this consistent integrity over the 10 plus years that I've known you. So when you came and said, "Hey, we could do this," I believe you only because, number one, I've seen you do it before, and it's just a trust. And so again, but I had to get over my kind of fear, my own kind of hesitation, my own kind of resistance.
And it paid off
already. Okay, it's already paying off. For sure it is paying off. But again, I do think people do have sometimes their own kind of natural fears, their own kind of natural resistance, and they kind of have to work through that. But you were actually very gracious, I felt like, in kind of talking me through, like, hey, what's your resistance about? And then, you just invite us to try. There was no arm twisting. There was just an invitation.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate you giving us that invitation. And again, we've already seen, we've already received partners that have come with funding.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you, Doc.
My pleasure. Thank you.